Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So the Karmelo Anthony trial has officially been concluded and this teenager has been sentenced to 35 years in prison for the murder of Austin Metcalf.
Some pretty breaking news to give you right now. The jury has sentenced Karmelo Anthony to 35 years behind bars after finding him guilty of murder. I'm told that he is eligible for parole after he serves half his time. The jury had the option to give him as much as 99 years behind bars. But again, they have chosen to give him 35 years. And I do want to mention, we showed you those protests, a bunch of supporters out here. They have erupted again. Pretty shocking. This is a direct quote. I just heard one supporter say, quote, "Those twins," meaning the victim and his twin brother who were there at the time, are, quote, "domestic racist terrorists." So pretty unbelievable, Jesse.
All right, well, only 17 years and he's available for parole. Kind of seems soft. I would have given him the chair, but that's just me, Brooke.
The jury went away to deliberate the sentence and apparently rejected the proposed sudden passion argument that could have significantly reduced his punishment. The jury in Collin County, Texas, deliberated for about 3 hours before finding Anthony, 19, guilty of first-degree murder in the death of 17-year-old Metcalf earlier Monday afternoon. They then spent nearly another 3 hours deciding his lengthy sentence. The jury weighed potential extenuating circumstances of sudden passion, crimes committed in the heat of the moment that in Texas reduce punishments. Now I can understand why they went for this, because the stabbing, everything that took place seemed to happen very, very quickly indeed, in a matter of minutes. Going from, get out of the tent, you don't belong here, I'm paraphrasing, to touch me and see what happens, and then before you know it, the stabbing occurred. So his defense did try to push this idea that, first he was ambushed and he had a matter of seconds to think to save his life. Obviously that was all debunked. Even their own witness debunked that. One of the witnesses clarified and said that there was a crowd surrounding him after the stabbing, not before.
Anthony's defense today calling a teammate from Centennial High School who walked back his initial statement to police that Karmelo Anthony was surrounded by people underneath the Memorial High School team tent before the stabbing. That teen clarified that after viewing surveillance video of the incident, it was after the stabbing he believes that Karmelo Anthony had been surrounded by others.
There were witness testimonies that said that Austin Metcalf explicitly told Karmelo Anthony that "I do not want to fight you." They didn't know he had a knife, and even threats, where he was putting his hand in his bag, they didn't for a minute think that he seriously came to a track meet with a knife. There was an overwhelming belief that the students themselves who were there that day were not in support of Karmelo, including black students who were appalled by his behavior, shocked, even in fear for their safety. So this argument of sudden passion did not work. The jury didn't buy it. The sudden passion extenuation would have downgraded his verdict from first degree to second degree murder and shrunk his steep punishment to a maximum of 20 years.
The family is never prepared for seeing their son or daughter taken to a side door by marshals. And it is a really tough thing to watch.
By all accounts, this is a young man who had no prior convictions, no prior arrests. He apparently had a very good grade point average, 3.7 in his high school. Obviously, dreams for the future. His family had dreams for the future for him. And now a jury has convicted this Texas teenager, Karmelo Anthony.
We had people saying that no black people on the jury meant that this young man couldn't possibly have had a fair trial. There were people referring to the jury as an all-white jury.
What do you want us to do? What do you want us to do at this point? What? I'm lost for it. I don't know what to do. I got 5 boys. I don't know what. I ain't got nothing to tell them no more. You can't walk away no more.
Rest in peace, Trayvon Martin.
Carmelo! Say his name! Carmelo! Say his name! Carmelo! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now!
To protect black people. Anytime a white man or a white child can go and put their hands aggressively on anybody and something like this occur, it's self-defense. It's self-defense. You put your hand on me and see how I respond. Beat your motherfucking ass.
What will the Anthony family do?
What will the Anthony family? What will the people that's standing behind the Anthony family do? That's the question you should ask. We're going to stand behind them and we're going to fight. That's what's going to happen.
What is your relationship with Anthony?
I have no relationship.
We black.
We're brothers. We're black. We're brothers and sisters. We're blacks. We're the indigenous people of this earth.
Ain't nobody out here giving them, bitch, we black.
It's a repeat. Black people, black sisters and brothers, black kings and queens, we gotta stick together. This makes no goddamn sense. That young boy, he was defending his goddamn self.
Donald Trump is a goddamn bully.
We gotta stick together. We gotta stop hurting one another. Y'all don't see what's going on? Just like they doing this to Carmelo, guess what? It could be your child, little kids out here, it could be you. And I'll be out here for y'all. We gotta fight for one another. It's us, we all we got. They say that it's not about race, but there was not one goddamn black person on that jury. It was automatically about race. I don't want to hear that bullshit.
Never mind the fact that one of the potential black jurors who was interviewed and then rejected said that he would never send a black man to prison, that he just could not do it. At least he was honest. So obviously, why would he be selected? And then the other two jury members were black females and they were school teachers. And it was considered, too close to home for them to be involved in this trial. So what I've witnessed throughout this case has been very disturbing indeed. People have admitted that they don't care whether what Karmelo did was wrong. They will defend him no matter what because he is the same race as them, simply because he is black.
If evidence does come out that Karmelo was not in fact fighting for his life when he stabbed and killed Austin Metcalf, do you think that the black community will accept that?
If evidence shows that he did not, no, we're going to stand by ours regardless. They stand by theirs. We're going to stand by ours regardless. I'm a mother first. I'm a black mother. Let me put that on there. I'm an African-American mother. So I have to put away my color first and step into the motherhood. Nobody wants to see their child slain. So I do want to send prayers to Austin Metcalf, their family. But at the end of the day, I got to think like, okay, what did you do to him or whatever to cause this to happen, the reaction? We got to start taking accountability for our kids. Because then again, if my kid, that's why it's a catch-22, if my kid was Karmelo and I feel like his back was up against the wall, well, I'm going to tell you straight up, better mine than yours. Better mine than yours. So either way it go, everybody loses. A black boy allegedly murdered, and I say allegedly, heavy on the allegedly murdered somebody. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, this is about race. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, they wouldn't give a damn.
Who wouldn't give a damn?
Let me say this. Let's say the community.
So like if Karmelo Anthony was the one stabbed and killed by Austin Metcalf,
they wouldn't give a damn.
No mention of him taking responsibility for what he did. No mention of him showing remorse. No mention of him pleading guilty to mitigate the penalties that were coming his way, that were inevitable. They continue to encourage the sort of behaviour that leads to the destruction of their own communities. Just play the victim instead, rather than take responsibility. Rather than own up to what you have done, just play the victim. That seems to be their playbook. And now that Karmelo Anthony has been found guilty and has been sentenced to 35 years, they continue to push victimhood.
Not one black soul on a jury.
Oh, his wife.
An all white jury convicted him in 2 to 3 hours. We know that they did not prove their case.
Yes.
Wait a second, I think you finished talking.
They are currently sentencing Karmelo Anthony. But we know that the Next Generation Action Network put the first $10,000 towards an appellate attorney.
Yeah.
And we will fight Collin County like hell. I respected this process. I allowed and called for peace in this process.
See where that got us.
But Black America should be very upset about what went on today.
Yes.
Now, before all of the internet lawyers and before all of the interpretation of the situation, I'm only an advocacy leader. I'm not an attorney. I can only help families be able to navigate these processes when they find themselves in this type of situation. I can only allow lawyers to be what they are, lawyers. I can't instruct them. I can't stop them from doing anything. I have to respect the process just like anybody else. But what we saw today was flawed, unjust, and I ask that the community continue to pray for the Anthony family. I do not speak for them, but I know that the Next Generation Action Network will be here as support.
He could have got up to 99 years. So I find it hard to believe that this jury were not acting in a reasonable way. We're not simply just looking at the facts, rather than looking at race, rather than using the courts to push their so-called social justice agendas.
Quick sidebar on Dominique Alexander. This is the guy who chastised Austin Metcalf's father for being present at a press conference held by the Anthony family last year. Metcalf was escorted by police out of that press conference. Absolutely despicable. Alexander also happens to have a lengthy rap sheet, including felony injury to a child, stealing a car, felony theft, felony assault, evading arrest, and so on and so forth. And another interesting tidbit, Dominique Alexander's Next Generation Action Network has gotten funding from the Tides Foundation, seeded by none other than George Soros.
The trial played out how it was supposed to play out, in my opinion. I think everything went very smoothly. The defense wrapped up their case very quickly because they had nothing. They had no evidence in the way of self-defense, and it should never have gone that far. But you don't have to plead guilty. If you want all the information, all the evidence to be laid out before a jury of your peers, you're entitled to that. But I think it would have served Karmelo well if he had pleaded guilty and shown remorse and pushed for a plea deal. Maybe he could have got off with manslaughter, but he decided to take it all the way with a lot of people backing him and encouraging him to do so. And now he has been convicted of murder and sentenced to 35 years. So Dewey Mitchell, the prosecutor, explained that the sentencing was about deciding the cost of taking a life in Collin County, one of the most conservative parts of Texas. There were going to be bleachers at stadiums in Collin County where parents are going to watch their kids play. One of the reasons we're in the community we live in is because we feel safe. Now, it wasn't illegal to carry a knife that was under 6 inches, but it was against the rules to bring a knife to the track meet. If Karmelo had simply followed the rules, had respect for the rules, he wouldn't be dealing with 35 years in prison now. And most importantly, Austin Metcalf would still be alive. At the very worst, Karmelo would have had his ego bruised. That was the worst that could have happened that day. Or they could have got into a physical fight with their fists. That may have been the worst thing to have happened that day. But as he brought a knife and decided to use it, he's now facing the consequences. And the next young man who decides to carry a knife to school, to track meets, to places where it is completely inappropriate and unnecessary, he's going to look back at the people who supported Anthony and think he'll get the same support. So what they are encouraging, what they are defending, the lies that they've put out there on behalf of Karmelo Anthony to cause confusion during this whole situation, that is doing nothing but harming their own communities. And although Austin's family certainly deserved justice and will consider this justice, more than likely, they are still dealing with their loss and dealing with the fact that this isn't going to bring Austin back. And now Karmelo Anthony's family are having to deal with their son who had a bright future, now going to prison for 35 years. One of Anthony's lawyers said decisions made in the heat of the moment are different than decisions that come after reflection. So when something happens and you believe that Karmelo felt terror in that moment, such that it rendered his mind incapable, that he didn't have time for cool reflection. Then sudden passion applies. That wasn't going to work because that would mean he was acting in self-defense if we could talk about the sudden passion argument. The self-defense didn't work, so why would this work when it came to sentencing? Anthony sobbed his way through the bulk of the mini-trial after the jury delivered his guilty verdict. Anthony insisted he acted in self-defense but did not take the witness stand during the trial, a move experts say likely sealed his guilty fate, because people were saying that your only option is to convince the jury that you acted in self-defense. And in order to do that, they need to hear it from your mouth, that you were in fear for your life.
Very rare, because jurors are going to want to hear from the man himself saying that I was in fear for my life and I felt that I had no other options in front of me. You got to really get that out through the defendant, or here Karmelo, in front of a jury.
Anthony's defense today calling a teammate from Centennial High School who walked back his initial statement to police that Karmelo Anthony was surrounded by people underneath the Memorial High School team tent before the stabbing. That teen clarified that after viewing surveillance video of the incident, it was after the stabbing he believes that Karmelo Anthony had been surrounded by others.
And they would have been able to see, whether he was genuine or not. They never got that opportunity. He was the one with the knife. Many would find it hard to believe that he was in fear for his safety. So let me know what you think about the 35 years. Do you think the sentence is too harsh, given the fact that Karmelo was only 17 when he committed this crime? Do you think the sentence is not harsh enough? And what do you think of the reaction of people outside the courthouse, of people who supported Karmelo Anthony? Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Take care of yourselves, and God willing, I will see you in the next video. And a huge thanks to all of those who have hyped my videos. It is greatly appreciated.